In one 80-minute period, we've reached our bare breast quota for the year of 2021. Jamie?
Yeah.
Johnny?
Yeah.
Let's go watch Not of This Earth. Everybody, welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. We're an 80s movie podcast, and every other week we watch a different movie from the 80s, and then we talk about it. My name's Doug McCambridge. I'm one of your two hosts, and with me, as always, maybe it's Jamie Lorello. Jamie, take the sunglasses off so I know it's you.
No, I can't. Okay. I'll take my shirt off, though.
We should have. Okay. All right, fine. We should have done this, all three of us, with sunglasses on. I think that would have been fun for nobody, none of the listeners at all, but for us.
I left mine down in the basement, so precariously.
Near the burning, near the corpses.
Yeah. I was like, it smells like dead body in here. Let me leave these sunglasses.
Doesn't smell like dead bodies at all. The only thing I could think is she's like, oh, it's summer. I was just in the pool, and for some reason he's got the chimney going.
It smells like vacuum cleaner bags as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that vacuum cleaner's
great.
What kind of vacuum is that? Like, I need to show you this in the basement, in the cellar. This is a cellar vacuum. Is it a dry vac? What is it?
Pipes in
or
your
a wet
basement.
vac? Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, don't you normally, like, the vacuum cleaner salesman is like, let me drop some chips on your carpeted floor and let me spill some wine. Like, not, I gotta see your cellar space, because this vacuum is all about.
I have to show you this in the cellar. I would have loved it if everybody just had an excuse to get into the cellar. Like, the guy's like, I've got a great wine stacking system that I'd like to show you, but we have to go down to the cellar to do that.
Those three ladies that he brings down there, those three are something. I can't wait to talk about them.
But we're not alone. You may hear somebody. Well, you heard somebody talking. This is our summer of sequels. If you've been paying any attention, if you're a regular
sidekicks,
listener,
Doug. Sidekicks.
Yes.
What did I say?
He doesn't even know.
Again? Oh, God. I'll never forget that. As long as I live, I'll be like, how was the best movie we watched? Karate Kid Part 2. How was the best thing that we watched that? It is. Thank you, Sidekick. But today, who we have with us is Jonny Numb of the Last Knock podcast. Jonny, thanks for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me.
Oh. And for, I was about to say most listeners, for all listeners, this is the first time they're hearing you on our podcast.
Right.
But we had you we had you on way back in 2016. So what I would recommend to people right now, well, maybe not right now, finish listening to this, but go way back to October 2016, and you will hear Jamie and I having way more fun than we've ever had, just the two of us. And there's a reason for that, because there's a third voice that you will not hear. And that's Johnny's voice, because he came on to talk about Chopping Mall, and it's one of the big regrets of the show is that your audio didn't work, and people never got to hear your impression of those Chopping Mall robots, those killbots, because it was really great.
Have a nice day, Doug.
Okay, there you go, guys. No need to go back and listen, or actually just take that out of this episode and insert it in your mind wherever you want to while listening. But Jonny, thank you so much for coming back on. I really wanted to have you back on at some point, and this is long overdue, but I appreciate you coming on. Do I appreciate the movie you brought? I'm not sure. I think we could talk about that. So, Jonny, the one thing I'm asking everybody is, every guest got to bring a movie or pitch a movie to us. Like, it's your choice, and you had an entire 10-year period of film history to choose from. You could have brought us, I don't know, My Dinner with Andre if you wanted to, but instead you brought us this movie, and can you explain why you brought us this movie? Like, what is it? Why did this come into your mind? I know you and I went back and forth a little bit. There were a few things you were considering. You landed on this, so I guess my question is, why did you land on this?
Did you actually say the title, Doug? Okay.
No.
It's something I never do. So you can start with the title.
Okay, the movie we were talking about quite fortuitously is another Jim Wynorski movie, actually. That was not a conscious decision.
Wait, are you serious? Because the amount of crossover with actors in this and Chopping Mall blew my mind when I looked into it.
I only knew of one. I thought it was just, you'll have to enlighten me then.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, the reason I picked this, it's actually very boring and lame. The desk where I've been working for the past year and a half, to my immediate left against the wall is my snobby boutique label media shelf. Doug, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
sure. Yeah.
So I've got my Arrow, my Blue Underground, all in alphabetical order. And off to my left, I look, and there is Not of This Earth. And I'm like, I haven't watched this. I have this movie. I haven't watched it in many years. I remembered liking it. It's from the 80s, and that's really as simple as it is. I was just like, I wanted to rewatch this movie, so that's why I picked it.
Wow.
And like in your office, it was just hanging out there and almost like winked at you, like, hey, I could be part of that summer of the future. Or nope, sidekick summer. I did it then.
I would love to have a sidekick like Tracy Lords, but I don't think she needs a sidekick.
Oh, she is.
She's doing quite well for herself now. Let's just say that. She doesn't need any help from us.
She actually said in the interview on the disc that this was a step up for her from where she was, and I'm
Look
like, you know what? I understand
Wow.
where she's coming from.
I found her Jamie, you and I have a mutual friend. Pat is a huge Tracy Lords fan, like a legitimate fan. Tracy Lords fan, and I did some digging, and you're right, John. I mean, this is a step up for her, but there's so much about this that is just like all right, this is my first legitimate, and listen, hey, if you're in the porn industry, that's cool, that can be legitimate, but like, this is her first film, and you can really see her just trying to figure it out, like, just scene by scene, trying to figure out how to deliver non-pornographic dialogue and how to read other actors, and maybe like a Corman joint is the way to do that, because you watch her in stuff now-ish, and 10 years after this, and she's legitimately pretty good. Yeah. So this is a step up, and just what she was able to do with this is quite impressive, because look at the stable of actors around her. No one else really made it as far as she did.
Oh, no. It's like I was trying to figure out if I recognized anybody from anywhere except Kelly Maroney, and I'm like, I don't know any of you people, really, so...
That Kelly Maroney thing, that came out of nowhere. I did not expect her in this movie, and I was like, well, I didn't even recognize her. I was like, well, this has to be some... I mean, there's like 8 people in this movie. It's easy enough to do research.
Well, she plays Tracy's replacement at the doctor's office, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So as you said, it's Not of This Earth from 1988. A Jim Wynorski joint. I think the only thing we did really of his was Chopping Mall. I think that's the only time we, ventured into his filmography, and I think the only time we did another Roger Corman movie was
Forbidden World.
Oh, Forbidden World,
which I liked much better than you guys. for somewhat prurient reasons, yeah.
Well, after watching this, I was like, you know what? Forbidden World wasn't that bad.
Oh, shots fired, Doug.
No. Yeah, maybe. I'm not so sure. So let's get started, because also there are 2 movies. I sort of mentioned off the top, Johnny, that there's a lot of crossover between this and Chopping Mall. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of crossover between this and Commando, too.
Oh, wow.
And Commando.
A lot of these people were in Commando. Jeremy, the guy who dresses like a doorman, he was in...
Oh, yeah, the guy...
Yeah, he was in Commando.
What was he in Commando?
He was one of the guys that was there to make sure that Arnold wasn't killed at the beginning of the movie. It was like instantly murdered.
Oh, okay.
And same with the vacuum cleaner salesman was the guy in Commando who retired to be a car salesman and was murdered by being run over by a car.
Okay.
Wow.
And he was also one of the cops in Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Really?
So there's
lots of lines being crossed here.
One of the prostitutes.
I wonder who the casting director was.
I don't know. One of the prostitutes that he brings back, one of the three, the girl with
trio?
the dark hair, was the girl in Commando when he's fighting with the guy in the hotel room and they bust in on the man and the woman having sex. And he stabs him with the table leg. That was her.
Typecasting.
Wow. Quite the crew. It's like the oddballs from Commando. They were like, all right, come on. We got another job for you guys. It's minimal lines. Just let's do it. Actually, no, because Jeremy's that one guy's character, right?
Yeah.
So,
and the fact that this is after Commando makes me think these people really took a step back in their careers.
But maybe they thought it was up. Maybe these are bigger. Well, the girl doesn't have a bigger role.
Jeremy has Jeremy has a lot going on in this movie.
Yeah. And he does. He looked like it looked like he was having a good time with, I don't know, it looked like maybe it was a fun, comfortable set. I'll say that. I don't know how it translated as far as a movie.
I don't know.
But it looked like on set they were chummy
and by
got
set,
along.
you mean the single set that they used where they just move walls in and out.
Yes.
Now we're in a police station. All right, let's get into this. Let's start talking about this movie. The beginning of this movie, it's just footage from other Corman space movies. Is this correct?
I counted the three I recognized were Galaxy of Terror, Humanoids from the Deep, and your favorite Forbidden World pop up over the opening credits. Yeah.
Yeah, the opening credits are that. So that is what it is. Because I was like, is this like a summary of what we're about to see, or is this what is this? Like, this is the strangest opening credits. Well, besides when we first see the couple necking and make it out in the car, I do like her line. She's for some reason she's trying to get his attention because there's a big flash over their necking in a little car, or in a little car. They're necking out in a car, and there's a flash of light, and she's trying to get his attention, and he's like, quit jacking me. And she goes, I was jacking you off before. Now I'm trying to tell you something. I mean, there's lines like that throughout the movie, but that was the first one I encountered, and I was like, we're writing that down. And then I realized I can't write them all down because there's too many that are like
dialogue. It's too quick. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Oh, Tommy, the girls in homeroom were right. Oh, anyway, there's another line I wrote down.
It is bizarre because, like, you think she doesn't want to be date raped in this car, but she's just like, you know what?
But no,
the back seat's a lot better than the front seat.
That's where she wants to be.
Mixed signals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mixed signals.
So we see that, I guess, some sort of alien spacecraft lands, and I'm going to just refer to him as Space Businessman. I know his name is Mr. Johnson, but it took me a long time to actually write that down.
I think his first name is Paul.
Oh, okay. Great.
But you can call him Mr. You can call him Mr. Business Spaceman, Doug. That's fine.
Okay. I wrote Men in Black every time he was on. I was like, the Man in Black.
So nobody wrote Mr. Johnson. Nobody wrote the character.
No. I kept, he looks like a really lost, wayward blues brother. Like he's trying to find Jake and Elwood.
It does.
100%. He's just a Blues Brothers groupie who has traveled across the universe to find out what's going on, and then he discovers John Goodman. He's like, this is not as good.
I'm on a mission from the chariots of the gods.
Right. So he basically comes up. He's a spaceman of some sort, and he murders this guy. Like, he strangles the guy and then zaps her with his eyeless...
eyeballs.
anyone want to jump in here to try and explain what's happening?
It's a laser that shoots out of his eyes, right? It's a hypnotic blood. Like somehow when he lasers them, he gets their blood. Or does
he attaches like a pump or whatever somehow to do the transfusions. Right.
There's that thing he puts on. That's right. It is more medical.
Yeah, it's not just as easy as shooting him with eye lasers and getting the blood that way. That would be much more efficient than the method he has. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, it does
it's
seem
a little
like
cumbersome,
he's
the method he has. And then he's got the jugs of
yeah.
blood that he's got to bring all our refrigerate them.
So he we see him like get out basically a kit, like, all right, now I'm gonna do something to this woman. We don't really know blood's involved at this point, but this is where, like I said, we get the title sequence, which is just a mashup of alien movies. And I was thinking, like, Jamie, you thought these were the scenes of what was going to happen. I was like, is this stuff that's happened before? Like, everything looked like some sort of alien invasion. Like, how does this relate to what we're watching right now?
Actually, I was kind of like, since I hadn't watched the movie in so long, those credits started, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And that's like, oh, I recognize this and that and the other thing. I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? Oh, okay, they're alien movies. This is an alien movie, but it's kind of weak because I can imagine the people watching it were probably ticked off. It's like, oh, we're not going to see this gnarly, gory stuff in this movie. Like, we're seeing none of this.
None of these things happen.
It's in all these other New World movies. Yeah.
Yeah, everything we're seeing.
There's no sea monster in this movie. I wanted to see a sea monster. There's monsters that are vomiting. There's a naked girl being eaten by a monster.
She's not being eaten, Jamie.
There's...
No, something else is happening there.
Oh, all right.
Sorry.
How many movies are there? Johnny? Do we have to bring you on for like 8 more movies?
If you want to talk Roger Corman alien movies, I am there. Yeah.
All right, great. Well, we already did one. And this is why I knew we were watching footage, because, Jamie, remember in Forbidden World, there's that dummy janitor guy who's like cleaning up everything and the alien attacks him?
Oh, yeah, I recognized him. Right. I recognized him. Yeah, I did. I was like, wait a minute, we've seen this guy. That's when I was catching on, like,
a wall. I was like, oh, this is just footage from Random Nonsense.
Yeah, that's when I caught on, because I was like, I know that guy. I know that janitor sweep up. But then there was the baby being born, and I didn't recognize that.
Yeah.
The alien baby coming out of the mom's thing.
Hey, what movie's that, Johnny? That looked awesome.
That's Humanoids from the Deep. That's a fun one. Yeah.
That's Humanoids from the Deep? Okay. All right. I'd seen that a long time ago. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, actually, in hindsight, I would say that Humanoids and Galaxy of Terror, which is the other movie I recognize, they're probably better than Not of This Earth, even though I still like Not of This Earth. So...
Okay.
All right. I mean, we're not really here to talk about good movies all the time. Stop giving us all these great Roger Corman movies.
Well,
now we cut to, and this is, I don't know what this clinic is or what's happening here. The fact that he can just walk in and say, I need a blood transfusion, I called ahead, seems so strange.
I don't want to test.
I don't want a blood test.
And she almost laughs it off like, this is hilarious that this guy doesn't want a blood test. Let me just call the doctor and joke to him about this. But nobody really is... You can't just walk in somewhere and say, I need a blood transfusion, right?
Well, they don't give out blood like gasoline. That's clearly what she says. There's not a blood pump waiting for you. Fuel up.
Oh, my God. I could not believe this. And then the fact that he just sits down in this waiting room. He's an alien, doesn't know anything. Later when he's talking to the female alien and she's like, I don't know. What do I do? Hotel room? Money? I don't know what that is. And he's like, I don't know. You'll figure it out. I fucking figured it out. Don't worry about
does. He just kind of lets her be. Aliens are like humans with Asperger's, I guess. That's how I took it. Like, they have no idea how to socially engage.
I think they're more like kitty cats. You know, the ma cat raises the little ones for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then they're on their own. It's like you'll learn out in the real world, little kitten. You know?
Yeah. Trial and error. That's
and then
how
you'll
we all
just run
know,
into a gang of new wave punks who will try to stick a knife in you or something. So.
How tough are those guys? You get.
And then we'll cut to a different movie for a little while. And I discovered that these were multiple movies stitched together only because I was trying to look up the people in this movie. And the one random woman that's looking for her cat and then is murdered by a shadow, I was like, oh, I wonder who that is. She's not
looking for her poodle, her dog, right? I thought.
Oh, her dog. All right. She was not. No, not that woman.
The one in the negligee that was answering the phone. Like, what was that all about?
All right, never mind. Anyway,
she was waiting for her friend to come over. Her friend just called and she was like, "When are you coming over? I'm in my nightie."
I thought the dark-haired lady was looking for a cat, but it's a dog. You're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that was from a different movie until I tried to find her name in the credits and she wasn't listed.
Oh.
Anyway, we'll get into that. We'll talk about the many different movies that are stitched in here. But we do find out, this comes back, this is kind of important. He's very sensitive to sound. He doesn't like the loud sounds that are in this waiting room.
Like the buzzer, right.
So he gets called back to the doctor's office, and the doctor never asks why he needs a transfusion.
It's more like you just can't get one. Yeah, if you don't get tested. Yeah.
If you don't take a test, you just can't.
No doctor in town will do it for you. Yeah. No doctor. Yeah.
So this is where the alien businessman cuts himself and sees that he can't bleed, but he's like, I don't know, it'll bleed later, but there's not a whole lot of it, so I need more blood.
Like evaporates.
Yeah. The doctor won't do anything, and I love how the doctor goes, well, if we don't test you, I don't even know what type you are. And his response is, typo. Yeah, that's right. I'm, does
really
that sound convincing?
But I like the doctor's firm. He's like, I can't trust your response to that. I mean, look at you.
For as long as that scene was going on, I was half expecting the doctor to be like, yeah, just sit down. We'll stick a needle in you. Let's just get this over with. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. We just keep rabid blood next to regular untainted blood in this place.
Doug, you know what I liked about the doctor's office? Behind the little the examination table, there's a big framed picture of the periodic table for some reason.
It was great. It was like they were shooting as a high school classroom, and we're like, I don't know, let's suddenly try and turn this into a lab for some reason. We forgot that on the wall. Just leave it there. It's fine.
I mean, it's science. It's sophisticated. Yeah.
I was going to say it's science, and it's sort of related. Why put up an anatomy, a picture of the human body?
Have one of those dummy skeletons. It's yeah.
Oh, right, with the parts in it. Yeah.
Yeah. No. How tough is it to get a poster of like the circulatory system? I mean, it's easy enough to get, and that's what this guy does for a living. But we see that the alien somehow hypnotizes him. There's a lot of voiceover.
He's powerful.
Hypnotizing in this. And
I like when the aliens talk to each other and it's just voiceover. That's pretty great. Because I like when the actors have to like pretend like that one lady actor like moves her head. Yep. Lady actor, the actress moves her head around like Anyway,
it's so amazing. So we also see like, and I guess I wasn't listening. What is he telling him during this hypnotization? Because there are times where the doctor seems to be like, I'm just a normal doctor and I'm concerned about everything that a normal doctor should be. And then you'll hear like a buzz, and then he just like trails off and looks at a menu in a restaurant for no reason.
This is something I was really confused about, and I know I'm probably asking too much, attaching logic to this script, but sure. I felt like it was a very selective method of mind control, because every time the doctor got too close to giving away the alien's game to other people, the little high-pitched noise would start. But it's still not clear, because the alien does it while he's at the restaurant, and the alien is ostensibly far, far away. So is he like able to tap into this guy's subconscious or consciousness? So
I took it as that.
Because I was like, well, if he's aware that this guy's at the restaurant, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself and missing something. But
well, I like to think that he planted a word he's like, every time you say Mr. Johnson, your mind will go blank.
I thought it was like every time that Mr. Johnson comes up, you cannot discuss. You must not discuss. I didn't hear a spell per se with those words, but I think essentially with his mind, he said, you will give me my blood that I want.
Yes.
And anytime anyone questions you of me, you will just push them away.
But why does he let him look at his blood under a microscope and then we see
because he's still a doctor, he still has to do his periodic table elements crap, so he still needs...
I would have liked it if he looked in the microscope and we saw whatever that was, like a styrofoam egg or something like that. And then he looked at the periodic table and was like, it's not one of those.
What is the abbreviation for blood on the periodic table?
blood. I don't even see it here.
For blood. Yeah.
I also like how this guy now realizes that he can't keep coming back to his doctor for whatever reason. He could be a regular patient and just show up every day. But he decides to employ her as his personal nurse. And this is so great how she's like, well, I can't do that without the doctor's permission. Smash cut to the doctor being like, you need to give him this transfusion twice a day.
Yeah. That was part of the hypnosis, I think, though.
Of course.
Yeah, it was like, and then you must tell whoever your nurse that she must work for me. And she does, nurse's outfit and all. Although she brings quite the wardrobe with her because she's going to stay indefinitely, I guess. She brings her self-designed dress. I like that later. We found out. She's like, well, who can have that dress? I designed
that reveal so late in this movie that she is a fashion designer just floored me.
What is she doing what's she doing as a receptionist at a doctor's office?
I have no idea. When out of nowhere she was like, but I designed that dress that she's wearing. I was like, what kind of character trait is this? We're not introduced to at all.
Later when she's back at work, because she must just be stopping in because her full-time job is now taking care of Mr. Johnson. She's not in her nurse's uniform. She's in that like mohair sweater where she's like checking in on the doctor, and she's like, here, I'm out of uniform here because, I'm not a nurse here.
I'm not on the
that was probably one of the most jarring things is when she shows up in that like Ed Woodsian Angora sweater. I'm just like, all of a sudden I'm like, she's in this sweater. I mean, she looks great in it, but I'm like, yeah, where did that come from? It's not synchronous with the other stuff she's been wearing. Yeah,
no, it makes no sense. And Jamie, not to plug our Patreon, patreon.com/goodtimesgreatmovies, but this reminded me, we just watched a TV movie where a nurse decided to be a private nurse.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this was a thing, but it might actually be a real thing.
It must be a thing for all nurses. Like at any moment, you could just ask to be someone's private nurse if you're good enough.
Yeah.
Or sexy enough, I guess.
Right, yes. But she doesn't keep a real job, because she has to have a replacement come in and everything.
Right.
But I so love, and this is such a dumb thing to latch onto with a stupid movie like this, I kind of loved her relationship with this doctor. Like very early on, she says to him, she's like, I can't be your private nurse. We're like a team. We're like Laurel and Hardy. And later on, when she's going to dinner at that fancy restaurant, she's like, I'll bring you doggy bag. I know you can't get a reservation there. I was like, the relationship between these two is adorable.
It is unusual, Doug, that the older men are not presented as predatory towards Tracy Lord's character. It's like the irony of having Tracy Lords as your blue bikini wearing, sitting by the pool, live-in nurse is the fact that, she's a nurse to this alien dude who has no emotions and, from what we can see, no sex drive whatsoever. So I like the dichotomy there between the two of the characters.
Yeah.
Like,
agreed. I did think it was like he didn't choose her for her sexiness. He truly chose her for her nursing
and she only has to do a transfusion twice a day, and that guy's happy.
Yeah.
That's
Or maybe he wanted, in a small way, he wanted to keep that Jeremy guy happy. He's like, well, you come by and Jeremy will just love seeing you prance around in your bathing suit.
So, Jonny, this is where I have a question for you that gets us just a little bit outside this movie. Because when she takes him outside to his car, there's a whole discussion because a cop shows up and the cop's like, oh, you're in a no parking zone. And you're
he's parked all wonky. He's on the wrong side of the road. He's in front of a fire hydrant. Yeah.
Did you, Jonny, did you watch the original one?
No, I haven't seen it. Just this one. Yeah.
Okay. I'll save you just a little bit of time because I was very curious because this movie's only like an hour 20 and it was one of those things where it was like, oh, YouTube suggests you watch the original and the original's like an hour and 5 minutes. So I didn't watch it, but I started to. It's the same movie. The dialogue is the same. It is shot exactly the same. And when this guy parked all funny, I was like, I don't need to keep watching this. So I kept skipping ahead to certain points. And instead of picking up hookers, he picks up 3 homeless men. But the movie is exactly the same. Like the dialogue.
The homeless men go to the basement and take off their tops.
He's like, oh, we're going to make a movie, boys. No, it's the same movie. I could not believe it's the same movie, the same dialogue. It appears to almost be a shot for shot, got a Psycho remake.
Well,
when is the original from?
58? 56?
Yeah, I could see it carrying over just differently. Well,
they actually had the trailer for it, Doug, on they have it on the DVD, so I did watch that yesterday, and I was kind of surprised because it's just like a minute and a half, and I was like, yeah, some of these scenes are like exactly like the setups are the same, and I have a feeling what Corman and Wynorski brought to it was just, obviously, hot Tracy Lords and a sense of sleaziness, and you got the heavy entendres and the nudity and all that stuff. So I think that's what they updated. Yeah.
Later on, when she's in the pool, and we'll get to that scene, and Jeremy's hitting on her, and they're doing all those, you don't have the right bait, blah, blah, blah. All of that is in the original, except the extra line where he says, but you don't know how big my rod is. That's the only difference in that entire exchange. Wow.
For a second, Doug, I thought you were going to say instead of Tracy Lords, it's a homeless man in the pool that Jeremy's talking to.
Changes the whole.
He might get a barracuda, son.
So we find out that she and this cop are sort of seeing each other. They have playful ? Back and forth through this movie. And now Mr. Johnson, goes home, and I thought he just arrived at Earth because we saw a spaceship and then he attacked those 2 in the car. But so I don't know how long he's been here.
There's a real cognitive disconnect in this film because you've got all of these vehicles and even there's racks of magazines and stuff that look like they're from the 50s, but then the outside world is clearly Los Angeles in the 1980s. So, but I felt like the opening scene where he lands and attacks the couple reminded me a little of Night of the Creeps, where it's in the 50s. So I was thinking maybe he's been there a couple of decades, and this was just that opening scene was just giving us an idea of what he does. But I could be totally wrong. This is just me speculating.
Whoa.
No, that could be accurate. I could see that.
That would be great. Yeah. I just assumed it was a joke. Like, this is a remake. Let's make you think this takes place in the 50s, but surprise, it doesn't.
Well, it could be that too.
But I like the idea that Corman was like, Wynorski, I still got all this shit in my garage. Like, I got piles of magazines. I got a car in there. I got the whole set. Let's just use it again.
Well, even the
car Paul drives is exactly the same as the one from the 50s movie.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, you're probably right, Doug. I think Roger Corman probably has a couple storage facilities worth of vintage cars locked up just for the express purpose of these movies.
Well, did you also hear... I just did way more research on this movie than I should have, I guess. That Wynorski's idea was... I mean, this is what people say. It sounds like stupid garbage that's on IMDb that somebody made up. But he said it was a bet that he bet Corman that he could remake the movie with the same budget, adjusted for inflation, and within the same amount of time. And Corman was like, I don't know, give it a shot. And so he just basically showed the cast the movie and was like, do this. Just do everything you see. We're going to set the camera up the same. And then I guess in the end, he was like, well, this is only coming out to an hour 15. We have to splice in footage from other movies.
Let's draw out the opening credits and then give everybody a face credit over the end credits too. Yeah.
Oh right, yeah.
Well,
that's true.
Did the same thing. It was great.
Well, Doug, you're correct. The interview with Tracy Lords that I watched, she was saying that her feelings about Jim Wynorski are pretty funny because she's saying, "Oh my God, he was very intense, but I loved him." It was very confusing when she was talking about him because it was like, because she reveals later that he and Roger had this bet that he could bring the movie in, finish the movie faster than Corman did the first one. So that and that's why he was so intense and apparently only doing 1 to 2 takes of each scene in the movie. So.
And with Roger Corman, it was like a $25 bet. It wasn't anything too.
I'll buy you lunch at the Big Boy, Jim.
On me.
All right, so this is when we meet. Perhaps my favorite character in the movie, Jeremy.
Yeah.
He's doing something in this movie. Like, he is really doing something. He enjoys what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's basically living inside that giant doorman coat that the thing is huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he was a servant. Yeah. Well, he kind of is, like the servant to and he's wearing his driving gloves at all times. That huge coat. I'm like, he's the driver. No, but he also cooks and he cleans and he looks after.
He has a gun to a degree strapped to himself at all times.
And he takes library books back on occasion.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Hey, you already got through these library books. I can't believe it. You read this all last night?
What is that? Is it... What's the little person? Is he trying to be like a little Tony Danza? Like, what's he trying to do there?
I was thinking maybe Henry Winkler, actually, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of the Fonz, but he's like the guy who's trying too hard to be the Fonz, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could see it because he's trying to be the.
He's like the Fonz, but when he takes off that coat, he's dressed like he's in prison in Goodfellas. Like, it's a strange thing.
Well, he did spend some time in prison, as we find out. He's friends with the. Well, how old are these people supposed to be? Because they mentioned going to school together, and are they supposed to be? They're not supposed to be like out of high school, right? Fresh out of high school.
I hope they're out of high school.
Well, I mean, they're not supposed to be like fresh out of high school.
No,
because he's been a cop and he's been to jail, but right?
Yeah, it almost seems like these two went to high school together and they were just diametrically opposed. Like, one was like, "I'm going to be a cop," and the other one's clearly like the local
criminal.
Criminal.
Right.
But Jeremy's got a good heart. He makes those sleazy jokes, and comes on to Nadine, but we can call her Tracy, in all sorts of inappropriate ways at first. But as the film goes on, he's like, he's a decent guy trying to do the right thing, and he's he's all talk but no action. So I can get behind him not being made into like a possible date rapist or something like that. So
he's there for comic relief, pretty much, right? I'm reading this correctly, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
her relationship to him is funny because they do have this like back and forth a little bit, but because this movie's so short, we don't get a whole lot of time with them together. And near the end, when she yells at Mr. Johnson, "You killed Jeremy!" I was like, do you really care that much? I mean,
well, they build a fondness for each other, especially at the end when they're in it together.
When they hold hands.
Yeah.
I'll stay here as long as you need to. You stay here as long as I need to. Great, we're in it together. It's great. So we see, he goes in this house with Jeremy. He's got a creepy basement where he refrigerates the blood that he's taken from people. We see all of this immediately. And I love it when Jeremy asks him about dinner, and he goes, I will be dining. And then the music literally goes, bump, 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 out. It's like, okay. That's when, and not to, we say this all the time, Jamie, and then we do it, not to spoil our thoughts and feelings of this movie. This had it was the exact opposite I felt about our This House Possessed TV movie episode that we
just watched. Yeah.
Where with that, the first 10 minutes of that, I was like, this movie's crazy. I can't wait to watch it. And it was just boring nonsense. This movie took so long before I was like, all right, I'm on board with the dumbness of this movie. But once I was kind of in it, I was like, all right, I know what they're doing. This is stupid, but it's like stupid fun. And I kind of ended up enjoying this way more than I thought I was going to in the first 10, 15 minutes.
Nice turnaround.
Yeah,
nice turnaround.
But now, Mr. Johnson, the alien, goes out for dinner, and we just follow a dog around for a little bit.
Why not? Yeah, I mean, the dog's sniffing through some trash. Come on, it's totally organic to the plot. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a foggy night out. There's that. Very foggy.
Yeah. And I thought for a second, I was like, oh, what movie have we entered? And little did I know we've entered a different movie.
I was thinking it was Extra, actually, for a second there, but yeah.
Yeah. No, but we are now in a movie called Humanoids from the Deep.
Really?
Yeah. This is
it not?
The whole scene of this woman in this house. Getting jumpy, phone calls, dishes, all of that. It's all Humanoids from the Deep. And,
oh my.
And then when she goes to the door and answers it and he zaps her, they have brought in another actress because it's not the same person that he kills.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was just confused as to who this new woman was, but I guess this is his dinner date. And why she was, she sounded like she was calling her girlfriend. She gets a little jumpy and she calls her girlfriend to say, or the girlfriend calls and to say she's on her way. And I was like, they must be having a slumber party because she's in her nightie.
Yeah,
like a very sexy nightie. Brushing her hair, and when she gets the call, she's like, sorry, I was just nervous. Are you coming over or what? And it doesn't sound like she's talking to her to someone she's going to have a sexy evening with. Right. It sounds like it's somebody who's coming over for like a game of Scrabble. And she's like, when are you going to get here? I'm just a little jumpy. I'm okay, but I am in my very seductive nightie, and I'm, looking for my dog. I don't know.
Yeah, Johnny, this entire scene is from Humanoids.
Interesting.
It's been a while since I've watched Humanoids, and I had no idea. Okay. Yeah. I'm not surprised at all that he did that. Yeah.
Yeah, because when that woman gets zapped and like falls to the floor, I was like, I don't think that's the same person. And this movie forced me to do all this stupid research. I didn't want to. I didn't want to look into this. But when you're confusing me this much in a Roger Corman movie, I'm going to look into it.
I'm gonna have to look. I'm forced to. You're forcing me.
I mean, I was gonna.
So it is the next day.
I was gonna say Forbidden World is kind of I remember you having similar feelings of confusion, Doug, with that film as well.
Yeah, I shouldn't have been confused.
I'm not saying those.
Pretty straightforward.
I'm not saying those feelings are misplaced because I don't know what's going on in that movie either. But yeah.
Listen, ladies take a sexy shower in what appears to be the middle of the hallway. You don't need to know any more than that.
Have a deep philosophical conversation while they're doing it too.
Right.
Very, yeah.
Yeah, while they're scrubbing each other's chests.
This is the type of highbrow intellectual fare that I really respond to. So, yeah.
That you put on your shelf at home.
Proudly, yes.
So Tracy Lords does show up the next day. She is here to work. She's going to be living with this guy. And she meets Jeremy. And, of course, he's like, he's a weird, creepy little perv. Who becomes more adorable as we know him. I guess we've sort of said that.
Spoiler.
And the first thing that freaks her out a little bit is when she does go to her room, Mr. Johnson locks her in the room and makes it very apparent that he's locked her in. And I love how she questions that, and he's like, well, you know, where I come from, we always lock people in rooms. It's still normal.
Basically. Yeah.
It's
for safety, though.
Where did you come from? I don't think we ever get any answer. He doesn't even just say, Michigan.
He has the affect of sort of a Pennsylvania Dutch person, but you know, like, I only say that because I'm in the midst of that area. So.
Yeah, I'd like to think that's what the actor studied.
We raise a barn at dawn, and we collect blood later.
Yeah. He watched Witness the night before shooting.
I like that.
It's like, I got this character.
I like this Harrison Ford fella. I'm just going to add the cool accent with the sunglasses.
He does have quite the little accent there. Alien accent.
So now let's talk about the fact that Mr. Johnson is now, if we didn't know he was an alien because he zapped several people with eye lasers and is collecting blood for some reason, he now has a secret passageway that's almost like a hallway to an alien spaceship where like a bearded man in a blonde wig shows up to talk to him.
And he drops a whole ton of exposition.
Holy shit, I could not
gives
believe
us a little
it.
background about the planets and the 5 phases, and I like how the phases are repeated. Like Mr. I didn't even get to write them all down, but as they were repeated, I was like, "Oh, they're really going through these point by point. They must be important."
The first one is study Earth's subhumans. Second is increased quantity of Earth blood transmitted to home planet, which I guess is Davala is its name. Third is, I guess, acquire a specimen, live human, for vivisection research. Fourth is value of Earth blood determined by your his survival or death.
Yeah, because he needs to survive.
So only if he survives does it lead to the conquest, subjugation, and...
What's pasteurizing?
I was thinking in the apple juice sense, honestly, but maybe he's talking about putting out to pasture. I don't...
That's what I wondered.
Oh, that's what I thought.
It seems awfully severe. It's the conquest and subjugation. You add subjugation onto conquest. It seems a bit much. But,
yeah, it seems a bit abrasive, doesn't it?
And this is so like overstated and hammered home through the movie. I almost pictured like a William Castle type thing where when you went to see this movie, you got a little card that had the 5 phases on it with little
check you forgot.
Marks.
Yeah,
you can just check the boxes because all the time he's like, I have just completed phase 1. Okay, great. I have no idea what that phase is.
Well, he
anymore.
already did phase 1 by the time he's having the conversation, didn't he?
Yes,
because he's got the blood. Yeah,
he does kind of brag to the guy in the blonde
yeah.
wig, like, I already did phase 1, buddy.
Yeah, so I really only have 4 phases.
That's old news. No. I may have been here for 5 hours or 30 years, but I'm already done with phase 1.
Now that you mention it, Doug, I think you're right. I'm like, he would be much further along in the phase gathering if this movie had been taking place. You know, he'd been there 30 years already. Unless he had a lot of failed attempts. I don't know.
Right.
Well, but maybe the planet wasn't in such a dire way the times he came back before, because the planet we hear is really not in a good way. And even there's a lady friend or a partner of
they seem to know each other. They have a relationship.
No, that is back on the planet that hasn't survived. They expired somehow in the planet's terrible demise.
Whatever's happening.
I don't know what exactly is.
I don't know what's happening on this planet.
We get some matte paintings of the planet, and along with we actually get some matte paintings lifted from Galaxy of Terror too at a couple points.
Oh my.
I like to think that he did come in the 50s and was all gung-ho for this plan and then wandered into a library and was like, what is all this? And he's just spent the past 30 years reading.
learning.
So into
just
it.
learning and forgetting about the phases.
But finally, they had to come to him and be like,
"Get
"Get back on track, man! What is happening?"
Doug, have you seen, or either of you, have you seen The Man Who Fell to Earth with David Bowie?
Yes.
Because I was like thinking of that movie a little bit while I was watching this. Is to exactly what you said. Did he get? He went to Earth with this mission. David Bowie was supposed to bring. He was supposed to bring.
Did he get?
Yeah, he was supposed to bring water back, I think, to his home planet. And then he gets distracted by TV and all of this stuff, and he just loses sight of the mission. And I felt that
he gets distracted by TV and making money. And what I always think of when I think of The Man Who Fell to Earth is Mac and Me, because it's sort of the same thing. It's like, oh, they don't have water on this planet, and they kind of, David Bowie's tall.
I love the scene. I love the scene where David Bowie gets pushed off the cliff in The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Right in a wheelchair.
And he survives that. He survives that huge explosion and dances at McDonald's too. Yeah.
Yep.
Fame for your fries.
These are all scenes that were cut, and they're going to be on the 4K whatever Criterion Blu-ray.
I actually want to see a deep fake version of Mac and Me where David Bowie is inserted into the movie as Mac.
It would be fantastic, because then the dancing teddy bear, you wouldn't have to do anything. You just put that scene in there.
No, you just make it be like Bowie dancing it out, right? And he could do that calling they do with the hands.
That is a real Bowieism right there. Yeah.
All right. Somebody has some work to do. If a listener knows how to do that, because I don't, please, somebody do that. Put that together. Or at least just play a David Bowie song over the McDonald's scene. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, that's all. That'll please us just well enough.
So now we find... okay. That almost sounded gross. I said we finally get some nudity. But I'm wrong, because that girl at the beginning is naked.
That's true.
Tracy Lords is drying herself very slowly.
Ever so slowly.
She's taking her time. Wants to get dry.
Yeah. Jeremy's watching in a mirror, and Jeremy reveals that he's being paid in gold bars that he can then take somewhere and get cash for.
Doug, what do you make of all those cash for gold places that you pass by in the shady section of the city?
Yeah.
I guess they take tiny gold, because you can't just walk down with a gold bar that weighs 20 pounds and be like, here you go, give me something for this.
You know what's going to happen is you're going to get killed by somebody who doesn't know what to do with the gold bars any more than you do. They're going to load their trunk down with it. Yeah.
What a weird detail to put into this movie, because even Tracy Lords is like, wait, what, gold bars? What are you talking about? How does that work?
But he gets paid pretty well, though. What did he say? He got paid like $2,000 a week or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
Plus the gold, right? Or in gold?
Well, it's in gold, and then he has to take the gold somewhere. I think he just says somewhere, so he doesn't even know where he has to take it.
You know what?
And someone exchanges money.
What? Tracy Lords is getting paid the same amount, but that's an important detail. We never find out. Maybe she's not there long enough to actually collect her first payday.
She's there for a whole week.
Oh, maybe she doesn't get
I feel like it's maybe a couple of days, this movie's timeline.
So Johnny, you might be right. Like, I don't know how many weeks Jeremy's been working for this guy. This could be several months into this relationship. And he's drained all the blood banks in town and has finally made it to Tracy Lords' place of employment.
Yeah, and there's no suspicion on the part of the police. Yeah.
Well, we do see the police.
We do, but
we see one police captain for a scene being like, I don't know, people are dead. All right, great job.
I just love how obligatory that is. It's like, oh, well, maybe we should put this in here and just get it out of the way until the end when our hero like connects the dots somehow and draws his conclusion.
Somehow is a good So let's talk about this smooth talking vacuum ? Salesman shows.
You don't have to purchase unless you want to purchase, and then you can purchase. You don't have to purchase. Yeah.
But I do need to show you, sir. I do need to show you. You can't just wave me away like that. I've got to come in. I got to come in to show you. Because
he really is awkward, like, whoa, hey, let me get through my spiel. I have a script. You can't just say no right away.
You got to at least take me to your cellar. Let me see your cellar so I can show you what this vacuum can do.
And this stupid alien is like, no. Wait a second. Did you say
come to my cellar?
Cellar? I'll come right in, sir. Let me show
and
you
what is this
that's
vacuum
where I do
doing?
my killing.
This
To keep it from who? Jeremy? I don't think he'd care. You could murder people in front of this guy. He'd be fine with it.
No, Jeremy does note. He says to Tracy Lords, he says, there is definitely something crazy going on here because people come and they don't ever leave. So he knows something's funny. He's just getting paid in gold, so he just keeps his mouth shut.
Yeah, we know what price his mouth shut is worth, and it's $2,000 a week.
Doug, I was gonna say I don't know if I would keep my mouth shut. I mean, I'm pretty sure I would keep my mouth shut for $2,000 a week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Johnny, you'd like this. The if you think about Roger Corman, okay, and you think about Chopping Mall, think about the original movie. Who would play this vacuum cleaner salesman?
Oh, Dick Miller.
It would be Dick Miller. It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I think I saw a glimpse of him in the trailer for the original. So yeah. I'd be more surprised if he wasn't in that movie. Yeah.
Yes, and the doctor in this, he is one of the janitors that make fun of him in Shopping Mall.
Ah.
And someone else will get to the character, I'm sure, because I can't think of who it is. Someone else is the other janitor that makes fun of him in Shopping Mall.
You know, Doug, one of the biggest laughs in any movie I've ever watched is when Dick Miller is leaning over that he's mopping up the puddle of vomit, and then the robot comes up and tips the bucket over. I just lose it when I watch that. It's just this poor bastard's already cleaning up puke, and you just add insult to it.
It's like, well, here's that for you. Yeah.
All right, so he takes this vacuum cleaner salesman into the basement and zaps him. He can kill men as well. He just doesn't do it a whole lot. And now we cut to the doctor waiting for a bus, kind of at a street corner with a crazy
with the crazy tennis racket lady. This actress is pretty fun.
And I'm not even clear why he's at the bus stop, because someone comes to pick him up.
He says something's going on with his car. But then the cop is sent by Tracy, I guess, to pick him up. Because I think he even says, like, yeah, she told me you were out here. But he mentioned something like, yeah, my car, this doctor, again, he's got the periodic table. He must not do too well because he can't even afford to get his car repaired, I guess. But this lady that he talks to, this crazy homeless lady who's talking to her tennis racket.
Yelling about Elvis.
She comes in hot.
It goes on forever. And I was like, this is unnecessary in this movie.
We needed 3 extra minutes. This is... It's the scene at the bus stop. Yeah. Let's have this lady improv some stuff, and while the doctor just reads his magazine.
And that's literally what she does.
Yeah. Well, I noticed he's doing his final edits, and he's like on the phone going, wait, how long does it have to be a feature film? Oh, God. This is the only footage I haven't burned. I guess we gotta use it.
Well, she gets a nice important credit at the end. I forget the actress's name, but she's credited as Agnes. So I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, she's got a name, Agnes. Agnes the lunatic. I like it.
I don't know if it launched her career. I don't remember really looking into the character of Agnes. There were a lot of uncrediteds in this movie, but most of them were voices. Like a lot of the ladies, I guess because, they were willing to get topless. Maybe their voices weren't great. So many of those women were dubbed in this movie.
Okay. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Dubbed for those voices that they dubbed them with? Really?
Yeah, that seems bizarre. It's a bizarre choice to be like, come in, be high-pitched and annoying, and that's fine. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, all right. Well...
So Jeremy and the cop, as we said, they sort of know each other. They went to high school together, I guess, because the cop brings the doctor to have a brief talk with Mr. Johnson about blah, 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 whatever. If they're talking about anything that's... Oh, you know what's important about this? Jamie, we're doing a podcast about 80s movies. We've been doing this for over 6 years. This, for some reason, is the only movie, I believe, that the topic of AIDS has been brought up.
Oh,
and I could not believe it. I was like... And there's no jokes about it. Like, it's a very serious, like... This is a serious issue, and we can't have another one of this. Like, and I was like, is this the only movie we've covered where it's ever been brought up?
Yeah, the doctor's like, we're facing AIDS. God forbid another plague hit Earth. Yeah. And that's a little funny line because he's an alien from the guy's an alien. He's saying, God forbid another plague hit Earth. Yeah.
He's also an alien that refers to humans as subhumans, which doesn't make sense because I'm like, wait, are you also humans? Like, why would you use the term subhumans?
I took that as a little tiny contemptuous thing that he was going for.
Oh,
like they don't. I don't know. They don't earn the moniker of human. They're subhumans. Otherwise, he's just a really big fan of that punk band from years ago.
Right, yeah. They have eyeballs. Let's call them subhuman.
They don't have fancy flashing lights. They can't shoot lasers from their eyes. They're subhumans. I thumb my nose at you, subhumans.
So let's talk about Jeremy and the businessman alien decide to go out and pick up 3 prostitutes, or as Jeremy refers to them, I've never heard this term before, Juicy Lucy's.
Yes.
I've never heard that before in my life. He's like, hookers, prostitutes, Juicy Lucy's,
And again, the doctor, the alien is just he's like that wonderfully oblivious guy. He's like, why are these women bothering us? Yeah. And Jeremy's like, hey, they'll show you, they can have a fun time. And he's like, fun time? I'm going to show them my basement. Yeah.
Yes.
You mean they will get in the car and come back to my house and I can take them in the basement? That sounds great. Why have you never told me about these Juicy Lucy's? And these Juicy Lucy's are kind of fun, too, because the one girl really doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
No, she just literally has like an line that she'll say, like a...
And the other one just sort of repeats what the first one says. Like, there's a leader
they're keeping it basic for the 3 of them. Keeping it very basic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he brings them back. I love how disappointed Jeremy is when he's like, we're going to go in the basement, Jeremy. Why don't you go to bed?
Yeah, Jeremy's like, you don't got to throw me anything? I don't get a little bit of sauce? And Tiger's like, no.
He's like, I'm giving you $2,000 a week in gold bars, dude.
Yeah.
Isn't that good enough?
Go hit up the nurse that's living here. But she's on her own date, as we see in
Jeremy, go get your own Juicy Lucy's. I'm busy.
But we all got the only 3 prostitutes in the city here.
Yeah.
So he takes them downstairs. They start to strip. Kind of like,
it's awkward.
They are the goofiest 3. They are the goofiest 3 prostitutes ever, and they have these kind of like squeaky, annoying, and New Yorker voices. It's like they are the most. They're goofy as all hell. And when they get to the basement, they have Jagunda breasts, all of them, like ridiculously huge. Where I was just like, how does the doctor not understand how does he not like? We need to study this. And when they do like a half a striptease and he just does his laser eye thing, and that's
the laser eye thing is absolutely hilarious because what I love is that
the timing is pretty good too.
his bright light eyes, like the actor cannot move his head because that's of course just superimposed on top.
Stay steady,
and it's really telegraphed when they're like, aren't you going to take off your glasses? And he's like, I am going to take them off, right? Now. It's like, did the actor have to prepare to stay still for this scene? And also when everybody gets shocked, it is funny that they just kind of fall over. Like nobody, like they don't get blown across the room or anything. They just kind of scream and then lightly fall to the ground.
Yeah, I think it just sucks out their life. That's all that does. Yeah.
It's a very
so that he could get the blood.
It's a good way to, it's probably painless. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to give him some credit here. It's not like he's, drawing their blood.
Well, no, don't their eyes? Oh, no, those are her eyes that are gouged out, like because she's the alien. Never mind. Nothing happens to their eyes.
Oh, okay.
Never mind.
Don't have them. They just show up and don't have eyes. We get a obligatory and very last time, I believe, in history, we are going to get a naked Tracy Lords.
Yeah.
That's it. After porn, she did this, and then I read that Roger Corman wanted her to come back for another movie, but she was to get topless, and she's like, buddy. And she was in, it's been so long since I've seen it, Zach and Miri make a porno.
Oh, yeah.
And Kevin Smith wanted her to go topless, and she's like, nope. And he said, all right, you don't have to. So, yeah, so that's it. So we do get a obligatory Tracy Lords sex scene, kind of.
It's really just her whipping her hair around,
very slowly,
topless.
Yeah.
Wait, when that started, I was like, "What is this?" And I was hoping she was on top of Jeremy, but she wasn't.
You wanted her to end up with Jeremy? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he's probably making more than that cop right now. That's for sure.
Right. I thought that for some reason she was, I don't know, yeah, but it didn't happen. But yeah, she's just making sweet love to her cop boyfriend. His nightstick, I think she calls in later. He calls in later about his nightstick. It's a whole joke.
There's Tracy Lords, like I said earlier, she's trying to figure out how to act in this movie, and almost every line is delivered as though she is so angry. And I just don't get, like, later on, and it's not that later on, it's pretty soon, she just, I guess, has given him his blood treatment or his transfusion, everything, and she's just like, you ever been married before? And I'm like, why? This should be a nice conversation. And he's like, what about that police officer? And she's like, that cop and I are bound for what? I don't know. I'm like, Tracy, calm down. Like, this is way over the top with your acting right now. And I don't know. I just don't think she's figured out how to be natural on screen.
She thinks she has to be aggressive. She thinks all of her responses have to be either, they can't be overly sexy, right?
Right.
And so they have to be a little more,
I mean, maybe, like you sort of said, maybe she has surrounded herself in her life as being an attractive woman, just been surrounded by perverts, and she has had to rebuff so many advances.
Right.
That's just how she talks, I guess.
Yeah. She's always on the defense. Yeah. That's what it sounds like. She'll be on the defense.
I didn't find her. That's weird. I didn't find her aggressive when I was watching it. I thought she was sassy, and that's what I. That's what I kind of liked about her, is that she, when Jeremy's doing his sleazy lines to her from the pool, she has like a comeback for each one of them, So she's kind of
right.
It's like, oh, you want to play this? Well, I can play right back, kind of in a sort of innocent, jokey way. So I didn't pick up on that, Doug. So but whatever.
I guess I thought that that's how she acted through the whole thing. You're right that it makes sense in those scenes with Jeremy, but the fact that she's doing that to everyone didn't sit right.
No, that's fine.
Also, does this alien cure cancer in this speech too? Because he's
I love his face. This is pretty good acting.
That's another thing. Yeah,
this is pretty good acting. Her facial expressions when he is explaining to her the cure for cancer and his knowledge and all these books, she makes these faces where she's like, I'm supposed to be listening. I'm supposed to be interested. I'm supposed to be curious. It's very obvious that she's just trying. God love little Tracy. Just trying. She says, oh, wait. But nothing comes of it. When he says, like, when he basically tells her the cure for cancer or talks about the cure for cancer, she doesn't say, "Oh my God, you're really onto something." She kind of looks like, "Hi, yeah, I'll have to check out the periodic table of elements at the doctor's office next time I'm there and see if you're right." Okay. Anyway, did you want me to finish up that blood transfusion or no?
Also, here's a question I have, and I didn't think about this until now. If she has to give him daily blood transfusions, why does he have to get the blood? Wouldn't you think that the doctor would be supplying the blood? Like, he doesn't need to kill these people, right? Like, if you're a patient, you don't need to procure the blood and give it to the doctor and be like, put this in me.
Doug, I think you've stumped me. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard two hmms.
Well, I was...
Maybe it's extra blood supply. Maybe some of it's his own blood. I don't know.
Well,
some of it's for the planet.
He's sending it back. Let's just say he's sending it back.
Well, he's keeping a stockpile.
Just in case he wants to start reading again and stop killing people.
Yeah,
well, Doug, he could have turned the doctor into more of a Renfield character and have him going out and killing prostitutes and stuff like that and draining their blood if he really wanted to.
I think there have been some funny stuff from that too. Like the doctor could like wheel in a 5-gallon drum and be like, "Here you go, I got you your latest supply." Tracy Lords would be surprised by that. It would be great.
I brought the keg. Yeah, where's the party?
There is a funny part at the beginning of this when he doesn't want to be tested for blood, and Tracy Lords says something like, "You afraid of needles?" And I was thinking, I think you have to have a needle in your arm to get a transfusion. I don't think this guy's afraid of needles. That's not the problem here. So let's talk about the fact that for some reason, maybe he's low on blood. You know, the blood gods decide to provide him with a stripogram.
Oh, that's the wrong address.
It happened before. I put on my glasses.
The glasses bit was pretty great. Oh, she leaves without her clothes on because she still can't tell if she's got them on. She's like, "I just can't see without my glasses.
She's
Am I still naked?
Like,
I don't know.
I guess I'll just go."
Yeah, this was a very random birthday blood telegram.
And do you think this is when she says it's the wrong address again, do you think it's the same night? Do you think she's done this like 3 or 4 times tonight?
She's not really going to get paid if she's going to the wrong
I know.
houses.
I don't know how that works. Does she get like missed call? I don't know how that works. Yeah.
Well, you know something I liked was that Jeremy he's peeping on the stripogram from the second floor, and right before the alien takes her or whatever, he's like gives this, "Oh, isn't that adorable" look, and then he like disappears, I guess, to his room. Very weird. Yeah.
I like to think that Wynorski was directing him. He's like, "Well, what am I seeing? Oh, don't worry about it. Just look as though it's cute, and we'll figure it out later."
The alien's playing with the golden retriever puppy that's just shown up on his doorstep. Yeah. It's adorable.
It's adorable.
Something out of Benji.
Yeah. So for some reason, he decides that he's not going to take her to the basement and drain her of blood. He's going to send her back in this closet teleporter to his planet.
Yeah.
Yes.
They could then take her blood and like test it out or something.
Well, she's number 3, isn't she? For the phases.
I think
Isn't she part of the phases?
I think we got to be up to 3. We're at least at 3 right now.
Yeah, let me check my notes. She is the specimen. Yeah, she'd be 3. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So this is where Jeremy and Tori, I just called her Tori Stone, talk about what's going on here. Because this is when they're in the kitchen, like a lot of weird stuff's happening, and we gotta look out for each other.
Oh, there's that drink that he drinks. There's that drink that he drinks that she's investigating that she's going to take back to the doctor.
Oh, I think it's just blood, right?
No, it's like some fizzy. It's like because when the doctor investigates them, that's what he comes to them with at the dinner. There's this. Jeremy's always cooking for him, right? For the alien, but the alien never eats, and Jeremy just keeps on cooking for him, I guess. And but he does drink this like beverage. I think Jeremy's like, I don't know, it's his tang.
His tang went bad.
And ironically enough, he doesn't drink the whole thing. There's like quite a bit left in the cup, and it smells like. I think she says it smells like.
He's one of those people that isn't into backwash, so for some reason they think they can leave a little bit of what they drank, and it's like
it's quite a bit though. It's quite a bit left, and she says she smells it. She's like, it smells very chemically. I'm going to have this looked at by my doctor. Again, that's why the periodic table is needed, because of the chemicals in this beverage. I guess I don't know.
And I expected her when she goes back to have this tested or whatever. I expected there to be like a little tension between she and her replacement, but there's not.
No, it's easy between
I guess
them.
Kelly Maroney is like, I'm just a temp. It's cool. I get it. And Jamie, you might remember Kelly Maroney, maybe not from Chopping Mall. That's been forever ago, but she was the little sister in Night of the Comet.
Yeah, I do remember.
Dressed as a cheerleader for most of it.
Yeah.
You know, I think Tracy Lord, she's coming back. She's ostensibly getting $2,000 for a week, though she's probably not at the end of her first week. So she's got no ego. She doesn't feel the need to rub that in the face of the new receptionist. You know, you're cool. You're blonde like me, so you know.
Yeah,
it is confusing. There's a lot of blonde.
That's true. Corman likes his blondes, and apparently Jim Wynorski too. So.
So also the cop calls her, and the cop's got dinner reservations at a fancy restaurant because he's blackmailing the owner of this restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's got some info on him, right?
Yeah. He's like, oh, I saw this guy with somebody who wasn't his wife. It's like, you're not a good cop, right? Like, you're kind of a creep.
This is kind of why I was pulling for, you know, the more you guys talk about the potential Tracy Jeremy intrigue and matchup, the more I saw of this cop guy, the more I was like, yeah, I'm wishing Tracy would get with Jeremy too. He's a good, you know, he has a checkered past, but at the same time, he is trying to make something of himself, and all of his stuff is out in the open, I think. So he's more. True. I think he's a bit more of an innocent character, despite whatever past transgressions he may have had. Whereas this cop guy comes out with like, oh yeah, I'm blackmailing this guy to get a table for this me and my hot chick at this really nice restaurant.
Right.
Yeah, and he really is. Poor Jeremy's like unceremoniously shot, just like it's so. Sad. Other than Tracy Lords being so sad about it, it happens and nothing's said about it. Such a shame. We don't even see his headstone at the end. We see a headstone for an alien.
A titular headstone. A titular one, mind you.
Who's in there? Is his body in there? Is his burned ashes from the wreck in there?
Why did he need to be buried? Yeah. Who's coming to this gravesite?
Doesn't the government want to see these alien remains? And who paid for this?
Yeah.
The state took care of it, Doug, or all of his gold bars. You know, it was in his alien will.
Yeah. They have a pit up on a hill where they dump the homeless people, but for him, they were like, you know what, we'll inscribe something very nice for this alien.
And meanwhile, the inscriber is like, yeah, you want me to inscribe this shit on this stone for this guy?
It's like, whatever. I just did Jack Lemmon's. That was pretty funny. Maybe this is funny too.
He paid me in gold bars. There were a bunch of gold bars waiting on my back stoop, so I'll write whatever horse shit you want me to write. Yeah.
That would be great if at the end, as they walk away from this site, they're just dragging a bag full of gold bars.
That double hernia was so worth it.
Yeah. So this is where Tracy Lord said she's going to bring her employer a doggy bag. So adorable. Yeah. I just love this so much, and especially when he shows up, I found that so funny.
He was so excited to talk to her. He was so excited to talk to her. He had to come to dinner, and then he forgot he was hypnotized, and he can only talk so much. And then at first she's like, what are you doing? Can't this wait till after dinner? Like, she's not as excited about the news. Then he gives her some of the news, and now she's like, well, I want to know more. And he's like, well, I can't tell you anymore. I just want to enjoy dinner.
What's for dinner? What's going on with this menu here? That's great. And then we come back to they're eating dessert. They've eaten a whole meal and dessert.
I was going to say, at a place like that, they've probably been there at least an hour, if not more. So that doctor was a buzzkill, man.
Well, the pastries are made in-house.
Also, this place is decorated like a set from the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. This restaurant looks ridiculous.
You have to expect Caesar the somnambulist to start crawling up the back wall behind him. Yeah.
So while this is happening, while they're having dinner, we're actually at that point in the movie, a sexy alien showed up, and I thought it was the birthday stripogram woman coming back dressed up differently, because as we said, there's a lot of blondes in this movie and they kind of all look the same.
Yeah.
Even
each one a little bustier than the next.
Mm-hmm. And from his home planet, there are a lot of blondes, I guess, too. It's just they're
Oh yeah, because even the dude was the long blonde haired dude with the beard.
Intergalactic blondes. Yeah.
That's the thing, right?
Ooh, some horrible Aryan race. Yeah. That's terrible.
That's why the planet's like in a state of constant warfare. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Not enough brunettes.
Had brunettes and sense to sort of even things out. So the business alien, so she comes in and she's like, I had to leave our planet. It's horrible. Everybody's dying. The planet's in such a mess. I was able to escape. It's great. Oh, P.S. That stripogram you sent, she was crushed in just a pile of mush when she showed up.
And she's like is she in a little box or something like that she hands over to the alien? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Like, why would you think he would want that?
I got you a souvenir. Here you go.
Yeah. So he takes her to the doctor's office. He's like, I know what's going to fix you up. It's this blood stuff. It's so great. I've been doing research for 5 weeks to 30 years. Not sure, but it's wonderful. I'm going to put it in you. Why I can't do this for myself, I don't know. Why I need a nurse, I don't know, because I know the whole procedure. But he is stupid, because we find out that he gives her rabid blood.
Yeah.
He gives her takes from the wrong jug. Yeah.
Yeah. And afterwards, I like how she's like, oh, no, I don't feel so good. This isn't great. He's like, you know what? You'll normal out in a few minutes. It'll be great. Don't worry.
Yep.
You might be a little high. It's okay. You're around friends.
And then
he tries to explain money and hotels to her in a way that no one would understand what he's saying.
Yeah. He's like saying, imitate sounds and gestures or something before putting her out on the street in Skid Row.
Yeah, because again, they talk with their mind only. It's telepathy, so they don't communicate using their words on their planet.
It is great. It's just these two actors staring at each other the whole time while we get voiceover.
Doug, and even that I gotta say that lady was painful to listen to. That was a bad voiceover. I don't know if that was even her actual voice. I think it was her voice.
No, that was a voiceover. Yeah. Well, maybe not. Actually.
But she talks to the new wave punks. Like, she says, "I am experiencing discomfort" as they push her into an alleyway. I'm like, oh, are you really? Yeah.
So on her way, as you said, she gets hassled by some punks. She beats them up pretty easily, and I think she murders that one guy with his own knife.
It kind of comes at a weird angle, but I think the implication is he got stabbed.
Yeah.
And this is where we see a woman looking for her dog, and she's attacked by just like a silhouette. And this is a different movie too. I didn't write down what the movie is, but this is not this movie that we're watching. It's a different
it's more missed. And I was like, again, I was wondering, like, the earlier scene with the dog, I'm like, what's going on here? Have we entered John Carpenter's The Fog or something like that once again? You're right, Doug, it really didn't feel like the same movie. And then it's revealed that it's supposed to be the infected rabid Tralfamadorian or whatever wherever planet she's from, you know, chasing after this poor lady.
Yeah, but she stabs her a bunch.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah. And then she comes back to the doctor's office and just like dies on the table.
Yeah.
This is where I kind of loved. There's really terrible dialogue in this whole movie, and I know some of it's supposed to be a joke. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a joke, because when this doctor takes off her glasses and see that she has no eyes, just cavernous holes, and he turns around and goes, "We better get an ophthalmologist." I found that hilarious.
Yeah. Well, somebody needs to do the research. What the hell happened to her eyes? Where's the ophthalmologist?
So we find out, for whatever reason, this alien was wearing a dress that Tracy Lord's character had designed while staying at this house. A designer dress that she brought with her. I don't know.
Yeah, well, she must have brought enough clothes. And when the alien lady first gets to the planet, the alien man says, "Don't worry, I've got some clothes here. We'll figure this out. So I'll just take her best designer dress and put it on you, and it'll be fine. I'm not going to put her nurse's outfit on you.
You're blonde.
Yeah,
she's blonde. I don't see what the problem is."
Right.
This is also a great line where she's asking Jeremy about this woman because he's the one who saw her. And she's like, "Did they look alike?" And Jeremy says, "Yeah, come to think of it, they kind of looked like they could have been related." And I was like, what are you talking about? He's an old man and she's a very young blonde. The fact that they're both wearing sunglasses is all they have in common.
That's all he needs to have them be related. Yeah, they both wear the same brand of sunglasses, like relatives do.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Jeremy finds the corpses in the basement, in the furnace or whatever. This is when Mr. Johnson is trying to hypnotize Tracy Lords, but he shoots him so that Tracy Lords can escape. And then Mr. Johnson turns around and kills our favorite character, Jeremy.
Oh, man.
He and his giant jacket fall down dead.
Jeremy down. And she does say, "Why did you kill Jeremy?"
No, you killed Jeremy! No! He was everyone's favorite character. Did you like this when there's a foot chase through the park and it's just him telepathically saying, "Stop running, stop running, stop running."
I actually love his line, "No place for you to hide. You can conceal your person, but I can find your mind." That's actually a clever line, but yeah.
It is a pretty clever line. Yeah. And then
whoever always find her mind.
Yeah, and then whoever wrote this was so exhausted or tired from high-fiving themselves, they were like, "I don't know, I'll just write stop running a bunch now."
Hey, Doug, I think there were 6 credited writers on Armageddon, so that gives you an idea of what.
So also in tow is this cop. The cop suddenly somehow realizes, like, "Oh, Tracy Lords is in trouble," and I bet that guy she's working with is
She
evil.
calls him from a phone.
What was that?
She calls him from a payphone.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Right? And screams. Like, he's like, "Can't get away. He's going to come. He's going to kill me. I can't. I got to run." But he's telling me not to.
And he's not in a joking mood. He's not like, "Did I leave my nightstick inside you?" At this point.
No.
But he's
Doesn't
got a
he
cop
drive
buddy?
through? Where's the line of mailboxes that he drives through? There's like 6
he
mailboxes
goes out of his
just
way
in
to
a
hit
row.
mailboxes and
traffic
cans.
cones too. I love how those shots are like the same setup. It's something like right up close in the foreground. Oh yeah, he's gonna hit that. He's gonna hit that.
Exactly. Sweep up those mailboxes. Bring in the trash cans. Just circle the car back around again.
He's on a chase, folks. A chase. He cares less about these things.
It's not a
like
chase unless
mailboxes
someone's getting hit with the car. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
This is another part where when I was watching the old one, I fast-forwarded and somehow just stopped at this part. When the motorcycle cop is with his buddy motorcycle cop, who we never met up to this point in the movie, and they stop and he's like, you go left and I'll go right. We'll figure it out. And I watched the original. It's the same dialogue. It's two motorcycle cops. It's like, this is so lazy and also awesome because of that.
It's like they're improv and it's free jazz. It's free jazz
Yeah,
policing.
there you go. It's like scat. Yeah.
You may be chasing after an alien, but hey, let's just wing this here and see what happens. Yeah.
But he does manage to hypnotize her. And he's like, you can go back through the portal. It's awesome. Your death will be so quick. And she's like, sounds great. I'm going to go back to the house now. So she starts walking home while the cops are after him in his car. And they use the siren. Remember, everybody. Remember, at least 62 minutes ago, we knew he doesn't like loud sounds. And the sound of the siren causes him to dramatically change course and drive off a bridge and explode.
Yeah. That's all he needed.
Yeah. And she's about to walk in this, and I guess when he dies, the hypnotization spell is broken, and then she's like, well, what am I doing? I don't want to go through this portal. And that's at the end. It's like she's fine, he's dead, and now it's the end of the movie. Because we see the two of them, Tracy Lords and this cop, hanging out by the headstone, talking about, how he was evil, but he's got a great headstone. And his headstone says, here lies a man not of this earth. What a confusing thing to see if you're just wandering through a cemetery. What a bizarre thing to put on a headstone. And then they walk away, and what do we see? Another man in glasses and a suit.
Coming up behind.
Right?
Yep.
Just walking up to pay his respects, I guess.
And
that's
it's the
it.
end.
Yeah, that's
or
it.
Is it? Question mark on the end.
Oh, God. To end this movie with a question mark and then characters' names with scenes from the film, frozen images. It's so cheesy. And
some of them are flubs too. It's like it's a shot and then someone's breaking out into laughter. I love that. I love that the doctor's name, I'm guessing it's not a real name, is Ace Mask. It's like Ace Mask.
I found this out too. It's a great name. Ace Mask. I forget what his name in this is. Let's say Dr. I can't think of a name, but he plays the same character in the second Swamp Thing movie. Okay. And I think it's Ghoulies 4?
Ghoulies Go to College?
Oh.
I might be 3 then. I don't know how they got into college. How'd they do?
How did they?
So he in other Jim Wynorski movies, he comes on and plays the same character always as a doctor. Which is great.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I just love the name, Ace Mask. I'm just like, that's an awesome name.
Yeah, that is.
Cool. So, Johnny, I think I'll start with you at the end. We sort of give our overall feelings. I know it's been a while, like you said. It's been a while since you've seen it. You remember liking it a while ago. You liked it enough to buy it at some point. So how did you feel this time rewatching it?
Oh, Doug, I'm a total whore for buying physical media, and I'm often buying stuff that maybe I shouldn't buy. But in any case, I think this movie is more fun when I'm not sitting taking notes on it. When I try to take notes on it, I'm like, oh my God, I can't even pause this to catch up with this expository dialogue that's meaningless. I think it's more fun to just sit and watch. And to talk about with you guys, this has been a hoot. I think I appreciate its absurdities and its flaws more now after hearing some of the stuff you brought up. So I think it's enjoyable. I still like it. I really think Tracy Lords is good in it, and this was her first starring role in a quote unquote legitimate film. So I just think there's something sweet and pleasant about her, and it's like you said, obviously she's trying in this, and so I think it's indicative of where she would go in her career. So as a Tracy Lords fan, and I dig it, and as a cheesy sci-fi / Roger Corman fan, I dig it too. Yeah.
All right.
I think you.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think you brought up two very good points about not just but like, I never thought of that, how the movies we do, if we didn't have to take notes on them the way we do, maybe I would enjoy it more. But taking the notes almost hits it home, like, this is ridiculous as I'm writing it down. Where if I just watch it, I might be like, oh, that's a little goofy. But I'm actually like, the act of now watching it and putting pen to paper, which I do, old school pen to paper, makes me go, what the? And so with this movie, had I just been watching it to just enjoy this goofy, fluffy 80s whatever, watching it and taking notes on it, I was angry at times and just bothered. Like, what does even happen? What does this even mean? Why is she naked again? Why are these 3 prostitutes here? Or these whatever. I will say I felt the same way, though, about Tracy Lords. I'm not I can't say I'm a fan or not. I'm indifferent to Tracy Lords, right? But I did find it that she was doing her earnest best at performing and was really, she wanted to make this work for her. You can tell. So sorry, I jumped right in all over you there, DP, but...
no, that's fine. No,
I didn't...
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think, I sort of let it be known what I thought is that I enjoyed this movie more than I thought I was going to, because here's the thing, Johnny, when you told me what we were doing, I was looking around for it, and it took me a while to find it on YouTube, because for a while I was like, are we going to have to buy a DVD? And I'm totally fine with that. I don't like to steal things, but if I can find something on YouTube, that's fine. So, and I found it on YouTube, so just to get an idea of what I was in for, I started scrubbing through, I wasn't even stopping to listen to anything, and I just kept seeing boobs again and again and again. And I was like, this is going to be tough. I don't know that this is even really a movie. I'm not sure. So I think then when I finally sat down to watch it, there was enough nonsense and enough just like goofy garbage where I was like, I'm in for this ride. Like, it's terrible. It knows it's terrible. Everyone working on it knows it's terrible. And when you're all committed and nobody's really trying to do anything legitimate, it's kind of endearing.
It does make it a little more endearing, a little more charm
I think it's enjoyably goofy because it's aware of how goofy it is. I think that's probably my bottom line.
Yeah, it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah,
it shouldn't.
Precisely.
Yeah. I think we're all kind of on the same page. We're at least in the same ballpark, let's say. So at the end of the episode, we always give recommendations of movies to watch instead of, or maybe in addition to the movie we watched. Johnny, you said early on, you were like, you got something. So I'm going to start with you. Hit us with what you got. What you think people should check out?
Okay, it's probably a bit of an obvious selection, but as I mentioned, I dig Tracy Lords and Not of This Earth and other stuff I've seen her in. I would suggest checking out, I think it came 2 years later, Crybaby by John Waters.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a lot. I just watched it for the first time a few months ago, and I was just surprised at how much I dug John Waters working in PG-13 family mode. And I just love the songs. And Tracy Lords is just so much fun in that movie, too, along with the rest of the cast. It's sort of an homage, a send-up of 50s greaser films and musicals. And John Waters really nails the period. And again, it's a movie where the actors are kind of in on the joke and the self-referential nature of what he's doing with that specific time period. So that is my recommendation.
Great. No, good
That's
choice.
A good one.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember liking it.
Cool.
So
yeah,
good choice.
Agreed.
Jamie, you want to go?
I went for something I had just seen most recently because, again, this movie is so crazy. I couldn't think of anything that I could relate directly to it. So we recently started watching on, I think it's on HBO, a show called Made for Love. It's about a woman who is married to this like tech. His name is something Benjamin Gogol or something like. He's this tech billionaire.
It sounds like a fake techie name.
Yeah, it is. Well, and they have this. They're married. They've been married for 10 years, and he inserts this chip into her brain. Because they're made for love, so they could read each other's minds and fall in love. And she doesn't want the chip in her brain, so she escapes. They live in this like bubble together. Ray Romano's in it as her father. He has a fetish with a blow-up doll, so she escapes back to her like it's really well done. It's kind of it's like a dark comedy, kind of like a Dark Mirror, or not Dark Mirror. Is that the name of that show? Black Mirror. Yes, but not that the lead actress is really good in it. She's from How I Met Your Mother. I don't know How I Met Your Mother.
I've never seen a moment. I know that show was on.
I didn't know either, but I didn't know where she was from, and that's what she gets billed first as. It's really well done. And Ray Romano does a great job, and the premise is really good, and it's like I said, it's got some. It's really well done.
Oh,
so
good. All right.
Yeah. Made for Love.
I'm going to recommend a movie that I thought, Johnny, you were going to recommend. I was a little panicked.
Oh, yeah,
I thought
you two
we may
were,
have our first crossover here, but when you said you were a Tracy Lords fan, I thought you were going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about the movie from 2012 called Excision.
Ooh.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Excision, yeah.
Excision.
Great movie.
Yes. So good. Such an amazing movie. Where Tracy Lords plays the mother, like an overbearing mother in this movie. It's really, really great. And her daughter, she has two daughters. One's kind of a weirdo, let's just call her, just to say that. And the other one has cystic fibrosis, I believe, and is sort of kind of like dying. And the one daughter has these weird sort of dreams and fantasies, a lot of blood, a lot of gore. I don't want to give anything away with the movie. But I heard it was good. I saw it a couple years back, and it blew me away. It's such a great movie, and she is phenomenal. Tracy Lords is so good in this movie as the mother, and just I didn't see the ending coming. I didn't know where it was going, and Tracy Lords sort of gets the final, let's call it, lines of the movie, and she's phenomenal. So I'll just say that if people have not seen this, I mean, if you're a horror fan, you probably have. It's smaller. It sort of flew under my radar for a long time, but if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I agree, Doug. She's fantastic, and I guess you could see that as sort of how far she's come in her acting journey as well. So
I think that's the thing I was shocked by, because I don't think I'd really paid attention to her or seen her in anything. I mean, probably nothing big since Crybaby. I mean, she was in, Blade, but she didn't really do much in that.
Serial Mom, yeah.
Oh, yes, Serial Mom.
That's
okay,
right.
yes. Yeah, you're right. But anyway, so that is my suggestion. That's my recommendation. Johnny, thank you so much for coming on with us.
Yes, thank
you. This has been so great. And how about you tell us a little bit about the Last Knock podcast and maybe where people can find your writing, because I know you write as well.
Yeah, I do a bi-weekly horror podcast called The Last Knock with my buddy Billy Crash, and you can find that at crashpalaceproductions.com and on iTunes and a million other places. I also write movie reviews for Crash Palace, and I also write articles for thescreeningspace.com, which is more of just a general movie, TV writing site. And I'm also on Twitter and Letterboxd. You can find me at Jonny Numb, and there are no H's in those Johnnies.
Hey, I have to say, listen, I love both you. I love Bill. I love you guys together. But every now and then there will be episodes where it's just you, and I kind of like that. There's something just about you, because it's so tough to do, because I've tried to do it, but just one person talking into a microphone and recording themselves is not an easy thing to do.
No.
So when you're on just talking about a movie or two by yourself, I think it's great. And I don't know if it was your most recent one, but when you said Psycho Gorman is a big pile of garbage, I totally agree, and I thought I was all alone. I thought I was the only person who thought that movie was garbage, and I was like, oh, this is great. Johnny hates it too.
It's always fun when I can connect with somebody who has the same unpopular opinion as I do.
I was really confused. I finally watched it, and I was so excited to watch it, and then it's like, I hate every character in this. This little girl, I hate her so much, and this is the person I had to follow through this movie. I couldn't believe it.
Why is this intergalactic being not crushing her to a pulp? Oh, that's because it's a MacGuffin thing. Okay, yeah.
Right.
Oh God! And so we got to put up with this for 95 minutes. Yeah.
Well.
Anyway,
again, thanks for coming on. This has been so much fun for us to have you, and for I don't want to think too far ahead, but for an episode that comes out where people can actually hear you on our podcast.
I hope I did good, that's all. I was sort of intimidated, as I told you guys, because of technology reasons before coming on here. So.
Well, as long as you're not intimidated by us, because there's no reason for that at all.
You guys,
we made that very clear.
You guys are sweet. I don't see any like dark sunglasses, intimidation going on with you guys. So
nope.
Yeah.
Not yet. I thought about wearing them, honestly, for this recording. But no.
Put on the glasses, Doug. Put on the glasses.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. As usual, you can find us on social media. Just go to our website, goodtimesgreatmovies.com. You can find all the links for everything there. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. Jamie, can you believe summer's almost over?
No, it's gone by so fast.
I mean, we are recording this at the very start of August, so we still have some time left, but
yeah,
we only have one more guest remaining in our summer of sidekicks.
You got it right. Good job.
So I know I had to think about it. Sorry,
I saw you take a pause. Summer of saltiness.
I shall show you to your room.
Thank you. I'm just dying to see it.
You are not dying. I am dying.